My boyfriend's mom kisses and massages him daily. I don't know if I can handle it. The first time I saw her kiss him full on the lips, I swear my stomach flipped like I was on a roller coaster I hadn't agreed to ride. We were sitting in his mom's living room, just talking after dinner. His mom, let's call her Janice, walked in, smiling, and without hesitation leaned down and kissed him. Not on the cheek, not a quick peck, but right on the mouth, like she'd been doing it forever. Then, as if that wasn't enough, she sat down next to him, reached for his shoulders, and began massaging him. Her hands slipped from his shoulders to his chest like it was the most normal thing in the world. I froze. My boyfriend, let's call him Ethan, didn't even flinch. He didn't push her away, didn't laugh it off, didn't seem uncomfortable. He just kept talking like this was expected, like this was Tuesday. I tried to smile, but my mind was racing, my heart thudding so loud I thought they could hear it. That was the moment it hit me. Something was really, really wrong here. And as I sat there trying to process what I had just seen, Janice turned her head slowly and looked at me with the faintest smirk on her lips, like she wanted me to see. That's when I realized this wasn't just some weird, innocent habit. This was something darker, and it was about to get much, much worse. When I first started dating Ethan, I thought I'd won the lottery. He was handsome in a clean, boy-next-door way. He listened when I talked. He opened doors. He laughed at my dumbest jokes. I was 30 and tired of the dating pool full of guys who ghosted or only wanted one thing. Ethan felt different, safe, steady, almost too good to be true. But looking back, the signs were there from the beginning. He always talked about how close he was with his mom. "She's my best friend," he said. "She's been there for me through everything." I thought it was sweet at first. Who doesn't want a guy who respects his mom? It wasn't until the third date that I noticed something strange. His phone buzzed, and when he saw it was his mom, he picked up immediately, even though we were in the middle of dinner. He spoke softly, reassuringly, like she was upset. When he hung up, he sighed and muttered, "She misses me when I'm gone too long." I brushed it off. Everyone has quirks in their family, right? But over time, I realized his mom wasn't just close, she was everywhere. She called him every morning, she texted him throughout the day, she dropped by his place unannounced with food. And when I moved in with him after a year, she started dropping by our place too. It was annoying, but I kept telling myself, she raised him alone, she's protective, maybe she just doesn't know how to let go. Then came the first massage. We were at his apartment, just watching TV, and his mom walked in like she owned the place. She sat down on the couch, scooted right next to him, and started rubbing his neck. I laughed nervously. "You've got your own personal masseuse, huh?" Ethan chuckled. "Yeah, Mom's always done this. She says I carry too much tension." I remember nodding, pretending to get it, but inside I was screaming. He was a grown man in his 30s. What mom still rubbed down her adult son like that? But I let it go. I told myself, pick your battles. Don't be the jealous girlfriend. Now, sitting in Janice's living room, watching her kiss him on the lips and massage his chest while looking me dead in the eye, I knew it wasn't just a quirky family thing. It was something that was about to test my sanity and my relationship like nothing I had ever faced before. Because in that moment, with her hand sliding lower and Ethan sitting there like nothing was wrong, I realized something horrifying. If I didn't put a stop to this, it wasn't just that I might lose Ethan, I might lose myself. And then Janice said something that chilled me to my bones. "You know, Ethan, you'll always be mine first." Ethan didn't argue, he just smiled. And that's when my whole world started to crack. I didn't even know what expression I had on my face, but I must have looked shocked because Ethan glanced at me briefly and gave me this tiny, almost embarrassed shrug, like a kid who'd just been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Except this wasn't a cookie jar. This was his mom kissing him on the mouth and rubbing his chest like he was her boyfriend. And the worst part? He didn't stop her. I excused myself to the bathroom, muttering something about needing to wash my hands, but really, I just needed to breathe. I locked the door, leaned against the sink, and stared at myself in the mirror. My heart was hammering, my palms were clammy. Was I crazy? Was this normal for them? Was I the one overreacting? I splashed some cold water on my face and tried to calm down, but the image of Janice's hand slipping over his chest burned in my mind. It wasn't maternal, not even close. When I came out, Ethan and Janice were laughing about something on TV, like nothing had happened. She was curled against him, her hand resting lazily on his thigh. Not high up, but not far enough down to be innocent either, and he was letting it happen. That night, when we got home, I finally asked him about it. My voice shook, even though I tried to keep it light. "Does your mom always kiss you like that?" Ethan froze for a second, then forced a laugh. "What? The kiss? Babe, that's just her thing. She's European. They're affectionate." "She kissed you on the lips," I pressed. "Yeah, she's always done that. It's not weird to me." "And the massage?" "Come on, don't make it sound creepy. She's just comfortable. She's been my support my whole life. I don't see it the way you do." I stared at him. "But you're 30. It's different now." He sighed, rubbed his face, and muttered, "You don't understand. You didn't grow up with her. It's harmless." But it wasn't harmless. I knew it wasn't. And the way he shut down the conversation made me realize something else. He didn't want to admit it was wrong. The more time I spent around them, the more I saw things I couldn't ignore. Janice would touch his hair constantly, running her fingers through it, smoothing it down like he was still a little boy. She'd whisper in his ear, and he'd lean in close like he needed her approval for every thought. One time, we were all cooking together, and she swatted my hand away from the cutting board, laughing, "You don't cut it the way Ethan likes it. I know his favorites." Another time, when Ethan and I were sitting on the couch, she came and wedged herself between us, practically pushing me to the edge. She draped her arm around him and sighed, "No one will ever take care of you like I do." Ethan chuckled, but he didn't push her off, and I sat there, smiling politely, while inside I was screaming. The breaking point of Chapter 1 came a week later. We were all at dinner again, me, Ethan, and Janice. She poured him wine, kept refilling his plate, and wouldn't let me lift a finger to help. Then, out of nowhere, she leaned over, pressed her lips to his temple, and whispered, loud enough for me to hear, "You'll never leave me, right, baby?" Ethan smiled, almost sheepish. "Of course not, Mom." I dropped my fork so hard it clattered against the plate. Janice looked at me then, her eyes sharp, daring me to say something. That was when I realized it wasn't just about affection. It was a test. She was testing me. And if I didn't figure out how to handle this, I was going to lose him. Or worse, lose myself in the middle of their twisted little dance. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake staring at the ceiling while Ethan snored peacefully beside me, and I kept replaying every moment, every touch, every kiss. And one question circled my mind like a vulture. What else had she done that I hadn't seen yet? That was when I decided I had to know. And what I discovered next, I wish I hadn't. Because once you see the truth, you can't ever unsee it. The morning after that dinner, I woke up with a knot in my stomach that wouldn't loosen. Ethan got ready like nothing had happened, brushing his teeth, humming in the shower, kissing me on the forehead before leaving for work. But I couldn't stop hearing Janice's words. "You'll never leave me, right, baby?" Something inside me snapped. I knew I had to find out just how deep this went. I started small. I went through his phone. Not something I'm proud of, but my gut was screaming at me. He didn't have a password on it, which almost made it worse, like he had nothing to hide, or maybe everything was hidden in plain sight. Their texts were endless, every day, every hour. She'd send pictures of her dinner, pictures of herself in outfits, selfies with captions like, "Your mama's still got it." And Ethan always replied, not just polite son-to-mother replies, but affectionate, too affectionate. "Looking good, Mom. Don't stay up too late, love you. You'll always be my number one." Number one. My chest tightened reading that. And then I saw it, a video message. I hesitated, then opened it. It was Janice, lying in bed, hair down, whispering, "Good night, baby," before blowing a kiss to the camera. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. This wasn't normal. This wasn't protective. This was something else. That evening, I told myself I'd keep my cool, pretend nothing was wrong until I figured out what to do. But Janice had other plans. We went to her house for dinner, and as soon as we walked in, she greeted Ethan with that same long kiss on the lips, right in front of me. He smiled like a little boy. My blood boiled. Then, while we were sitting on the couch after dinner, she brought out lotion. Thick, white lotion. She sat beside Ethan, squirted it into her hands, and started rubbing it into his forearms, his hands, his shoulders, long, slow strokes. I froze, staring. She was massaging him like he was her husband, and he just leaned back, closing his eyes, enjoying it. My mouth went dry. I wanted to scream, to shake him, to shout, "Don't you see how wrong this is?" But I didn't. I just sat there while my stomach churned, bile rising in my throat. When we got home, I finally broke. "What the hell was that?" I demanded. Ethan blinked at me. "What are you talking about?" "Your mom rubbing lotion on you like that, the kissing, the way she looks at you." He frowned, annoyed. "You're reading too much into it. She's just affectionate." "Affectionate? Ethan, she's treating you like her boyfriend." He went quiet, his jaw tightened. Then he muttered, "You don't get it. She's always been this way. It's normal for us." "No," I shot back, my voice cracking. "It's not normal. It's sick. And the fact that you don't see it makes it worse." That's when he turned on me, his eyes cold. "If you can't accept my mom, you can't be with me." The words hit me like a slap. He wasn't defending me. He was defending her. I barely slept that night. My mind kept replaying Janice's smirk, her hand sliding across his chest, the way she looked right at me while doing it. This wasn't just about affection. This was about control. She knew exactly what she was doing, and if I didn't act fast, I was going to lose him completely. But then, just when I thought it couldn't get worse, something happened that proved just how far Janice was willing to go. The next day, I came home early from work. Ethan wasn't expecting me. His car was in the driveway. I walked inside quietly, setting my keys down, and froze when I heard voices coming from the living room. His voice, and hers. I crept closer, my pulse pounding in my ears. And what I saw made my blood run cold. Janice was sitting on the couch, and Ethan was stretched out with his head in her lap. She was stroking his hair, whispering something I couldn't hear. Then she bent down and kissed him on the lips again. Not a quick peck, not motherly, lingering, slow. Too long, way, way too long. And Ethan didn't pull away. I must have gasped because they both looked up. Ethan's face went pale. Janice, though, she just smiled at me. And in that smile, I saw everything. Her victory, her claim, her warning. Like she was saying, he's mine. He's always been mine. You're just passing through. My legs felt weak. My chest ached. And that was the moment I realized. This wasn't just strange affection. This was war. And I wasn't sure if I was strong enough to fight it. But then, just when I thought it couldn't get worse, something happened that proved just how far Janice was willing to go. The next day, I came home early from work. Ethan wasn't expecting me. His car was in the driveway. I walked inside quietly, setting my keys down, and froze when I heard voices coming from the living room. His voice and hers. I crept closer, my pulse pounding in my ears. And what I saw made my blood run cold. Janice was sitting on the couch, and Ethan was stretched out with his head in her lap. She was stroking his hair, whispering something I couldn't hear. Then she bent down and kissed him on the lips again. Not a quick peck, not motherly, lingering, slow, too long, way, way too long. And Ethan didn't pull away. I must have gasped because they both looked up. Ethan's face went pale. Janice, though, she just smiled at me. And in that smile, I saw everything. Her victory, her claim, her warning. Like she was saying, he's mine. He's always been mine. You're just passing through. My legs felt weak. My chest ached. And that was the moment I realized. This wasn't just strange affection. This was war. And I wasn't sure if I was strong enough to fight it. The moment Janice whispered in my ear, "You'll be gone before I ever am," my whole body went cold. It wasn't just arrogance in her voice. It was a promise. That night, I didn't sleep. Ethan passed out beside me like nothing had happened, his breathing slow and even. Meanwhile, my mind spun like a broken record. Every look, every touch, every laugh that Janice had shared with him played back in my head, twisted and sharpened. I realized something I hadn't let myself believe before. This wasn't just a smothering mother-son relationship. This was competition. She didn't see me as his partner. She saw me as a rival, and she was determined to win. The next morning, I tried to bring it up again. My voice shook, but I pushed through. "Ethan, she can't keep showing up here uninvited. She was in our bedroom last night. That's not normal." He rubbed his temples like I was nagging. "Babe, she was just helping me relax. She knows my back's been killing me." "She was massaging your chest," I snapped. He froze, just for a second, before sighing. "You always twist things. You make everything sound dirty when it's not. Why can't you just let me and my mom have our relationship?" I slammed my mug on the counter harder than I meant to. "Because it's not just a relationship. It's her treating you like her husband, and you're letting her." His jaw tightened. He wouldn't even look at me. That silence told me more than words ever could. From that day forward, Janice became more brazen. She no longer even pretended to respect boundaries. She started calling Ethan during dinner, her voice dripping with guilt-tripping sweetness. "Oh, I just miss you so much. I wish you were here instead of with her." Sometimes she'd accidentally FaceTime, and Ethan would answer without hesitation. I'd watch as she cooed into the phone, blowing kisses, telling him how proud she was, how handsome he looked, how much she adored him. It was suffocating. Worse, Ethan ate it up. He'd smile in that boyish way, soften instantly, like a child again, like I wasn't even in the room. One night, I reached for his hand during one of those calls. He pulled it away. That small rejection cut deeper than anything else. I started noticing little things missing or moved around the house. A framed photo of me and Ethan from our trip to Colorado disappeared off the mantel. When I asked about it, Ethan shrugged and said maybe it broke. I searched everywhere. Nothing. Then one evening, while folding laundry, I found the frame in the bottom of the guest room closet. The picture of me had been carefully torn away. Only Ethan's face remained. My stomach dropped. I knew exactly who had done it. Janice had been here again. I confronted Ethan. "Did you know your mom's been messing with our stuff? She tore my face out of our picture." He frowned like he didn't believe me. "You're being paranoid?" I dragged the crumpled photo from my pocket and shoved it at him. "Does this look paranoid to you?" He stared at it, his face unreadable, then quietly said, "She would never do this." And then he turned it back on me. "Are you sure you did it just to make her look bad?" The accusation felt like a slap. My chest tightened so hard I could barely breathe. "You really think I'd do something like that?" I whispered. He didn't answer. That silence was worse than if he'd screamed. I started feeling like I was losing my mind. Everywhere I went in the house, I felt Janice's presence, like she was watching me even when she wasn't there. Her perfume lingered on the couch cushions, her hair clips appeared in the bathroom drawer, her mug was suddenly sitting in the cabinet beside mine. It was like she was slowly moving in, piece by piece. One night, I came home late from work and saw the porch light on. Ethan was supposed to be at the gym, but through the front window, I caught a glimpse of two shadows in the kitchen. My heart dropped. I crept to the door, my hand shaking on the knob. When I pushed it open, Janice was standing at the stove, cooking dinner like she owned the place. Ethan was setting the table. They both looked up at me, like I was the intruder. "Sweetheart," Janice said smoothly, her lips curling into that smug little smile. "I hope you don't mind. Ethan told me you'd be late, so I thought I'd take care of him." Ethan nodded along like it was the most normal thing in the world. I just stood there, numb, while the smell of garlic and butter filled the air. I wanted to scream, to throw every pan in the kitchen against the wall. Instead, I muttered, "I'm not hungry," and locked myself in the bedroom. Behind the closed door, I sobbed silently into my pillow. Because I realized something terrifying. She wasn't just trying to make me uncomfortable. She was replacing me. The final straw came a week later. I woke up early on Saturday, planning to surprise Ethan with pancakes. But when I padded into the kitchen, Janice was already there, in my robe. She was standing barefoot at the stove, flipping pancakes, humming to herself. My robe hung off her shoulders like a trophy, her perfume thick in the air. And Ethan sat at the counter, laughing at something she said, completely oblivious. I froze in the doorway, my voice low and deadly. "Take it off." Janice turned, tilting her head with mock innocence. "Oh, this old thing? I found it in the laundry. I thought I'd borrow it while I cooked breakfast for my boys." My blood boiled. "That's not yours, and neither is he." For the first time, Janice's smile dropped. She stepped closer, her eyes sharp and cold. "You're not going to last," she whispered. "You think you can win, but you'll never understand him the way I do. You'll never be enough." Before I could respond, Ethan slammed his hands on the counter. I turned to him, relief flooding me, until I saw his face. He wasn't looking at Janice. He was looking at me. "You need to stop attacking her," he snapped. "You're obsessed, and it's tearing us apart." My stomach lurched. "Ethan, she's in my robe." "Because she was cold," he cut me off. "God, why do you always have to twist everything?" Janice stood behind him now, her hand on his shoulder, stroking it lightly. Her eyes locked on mine, triumphant. And in that moment, I knew. I wasn't just fighting for Ethan's love. I was fighting for my sanity. Because the more I screamed the truth, the more he believed her version of reality. And maybe, just maybe, he was already too far gone. That night, I packed a bag. Not to leave yet, but just in case. As I zipped it shut, I caught a glimpse of Janice's reflection in the hallway mirror. She wasn't there when I turned around, but her voice echoed in my head anyway. "You'll be gone before I ever am." And for the first time, I believed her. I woke up the next morning to the sound of humming. At first, I thought I was dreaming, but when I rolled over, Ethan's side of the bed was empty. The humming drifted from the kitchen. I padded down the hall, dread knotting in my stomach. And there she was again, Janice, standing in front of the sink, washing dishes like she'd always belonged there. Her hair was perfectly curled, makeup flawless, her nails tapping against the porcelain. "Morning, sweetheart," she said without looking up. Something inside me snapped. "How the hell did you get in?" "Oh, Ethan gave me a key," she said casually, like she was talking about the weather. My blood ran cold. "What?" She finally turned, smiling. "He said it just made sense. I'm family after all. Don't you want family to feel welcome here?" My vision blurred for a second, my head buzzing like static. A key. She had a key. She could come and go whenever she wanted. I stumbled back, shaking. "You need to leave, now." Her eyes narrowed, the mask slipping. "Don't speak to me like that in my son's house." I opened my mouth to scream, but Ethan walked in, hair damp from the shower, and kissed his mother on the cheek before he even acknowledged me. "Morning, Mom," he said warmly. "Morning, honey," she beamed. Then he turned to me, frowning. "Why are you being rude?" I felt my throat close. From that day forward, the house stopped feeling like mine. I'd wake up to the smell of bacon, Janice already in the kitchen. She started reorganizing the pantry, replacing my favorite coffee with the brand Ethan liked as a kid, switching out my throw pillows for ones she thought matched better. One night, I went to grab a glass of wine, only to find my entire bar cart gone. When I asked Ethan, he shrugged. "Mom said alcohol makes me sluggish. She thought it was better not to have it around." I stood there staring at him, my mouth open. "So you just let her throw away my stuff?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "It's just wine. Don't be dramatic." Just wine. Just my life. Just my sanity. I decided I had to start keeping proof. I set up a little nanny cam in the living room, tucked between the books on the shelf. I figured if I could just record Janice doing something, anything, Ethan would finally see. The first night, I sat on the couch while Ethan went to bed early. Janice came in an hour later, carrying a laundry basket. She smiled at me, but said nothing. She folded his shirts with military precision, humming softly. Then she picked one up, held it to her face, and inhaled deeply. "I swear to God," she whispered, "still smells like my boy." I felt bile rise in my throat. Later, when I checked the footage, it was gone. The file had been deleted. Only Janice and Ethan had access to the Wi-Fi password. The next week, I tried again. This time, I left my phone recording under the bed. When I got home from work, I found the phone on the counter, battery drained, camera app closed. Beside it sat a sticky note in neat, looping handwriting. "Nice try, Jay." My knees buckled. She knew. She knew I was watching her, and she wanted me to know she knew. I started losing track of time. Some mornings I'd wake up and the bed would be perfectly made, even though I remembered crawling out of it half asleep. Sometimes I'd come home to the smell of food cooking, only to find the stove cold, nothing on the counters, like the scent itself was haunting me. One afternoon, I got in the shower, closed my eyes for what felt like seconds. When I opened them, my skin was pruny, the bathroom mirror fogged over, and an hour had passed. But the worst part? Words written in the condensation. He's mine. I screamed so loud my throat tore. Ethan came running, but when I dragged him in to see, the mirror was clean. He wrapped his arms around me, whispering that I needed help, that I was imagining things, and Janice stood in the hallway, watching us, her smile slow and satisfied. By now, I was barely sleeping. I started writing everything down in a notebook. The dates, the times, the missing objects, the whispers, proof that I wasn't crazy. But one morning, I opened it to find every page ripped out. Only one remained. On it, written in my own handwriting, were the words, "I don't belong here." I dropped the book like it burned me. That night, I begged Ethan to go away with me, just for a weekend, somewhere his mother couldn't follow. He shook his head. "You're blowing this out of proportion. She's not the enemy. You are." The words landed like a knife, and I realized Janice had won. Not just his trust, not just the house, but him. The breaking point came when I found Janice in our bedroom, again. This time, she wasn't folding laundry or fluffing pillows. She was lying in my spot in bed, under the covers, stroking Ethan's hair while he napped beside her. I stood frozen in the doorway, my pulse pounding so loud I could barely hear. She opened her eyes, smirked at me, and pressed a kiss to his forehead. Then she mouthed 2 words. "Told you." I bolted. I don't even remember grabbing my keys, don't remember running to the car. All I know is I ended up in a grocery store parking lot, shaking, sobbing, hyperventilating while strangers stared. And in that moment, I understood. If I stayed, she would destroy me. Not just my relationship, not just my sanity. Me. Completely. I told myself I'd pack my things the next day while Ethan was at work, quietly, quickly, leave before Janice could stop me. But when I walked through the door, my suitcase was already sitting by the front door, packed. Every drawer in the bedroom empty, closet stripped bare. And on top of the suitcase sat a note. "Told you you'd be gone first." My blood froze, because the signature at the bottom wasn't hers. It was Ethan's. I dropped the paper, my vision tunneling, heart hammering in my throat. Was it her handwriting disguised? Was Ethan truly behind this? Or worse, had they been working together all along? I staggered back against the wall, gasping for air, and that's when I heard it. Footsteps. From the bedroom. Slow. Heavy. Coming closer. I didn't know if it would be Ethan or Janice, but I knew one thing. Whoever it was, they didn't want me here anymore, and they weren't just going to wait for me to leave. The footsteps stopped just outside the living room. I held my breath, staring at the suitcase by the door, the note with Ethan's name scrawled across it. My pulse thundered in my ears. When Ethan finally appeared in the hallway, I almost collapsed with relief. He was alone, hair damp from the shower, wearing the gray t-shirt I'd bought him last Christmas. But the relief lasted only seconds. Because when he looked at me, there was no warmth in his eyes, no confusion about the suitcase, no surprise about the note, just acceptance, like this was already decided. "Ethan," I whispered, my voice cracking, "did you pack my things?" He tilted his head, studying me. "Maybe it's better this way." My stomach lurched. Better for who? For you and your mother? His jaw tightened. "Stop, she's not the problem." I laughed, a high, broken sound. "Not the problem? She's in our bed, Ethan. She's in our house, our kitchen, our lives. She has a key. She's trying to erase me." He stepped closer, calm in a way that made my skin crawl. "You're tired. You've been seeing things, imagining things." My throat went dry. "You saw the note. It has your name on it." He glanced at the paper on the floor, then back at me. "I didn't write that." "Then who did?" I snapped. He didn't answer. Instead, he said softly, "Maybe you should get some help." The words landed like a slap. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling while Ethan slept soundly beside me. I tried to replay everything in my mind, searching for clarity. The photos torn, the robe, the mirror message, the missing recordings. But the harder I tried to string the pieces together, the more they slipped through my fingers. What if Ethan was right? What if I was imagining things? The thought gnawed at me, burrowing deeper with every passing hour. By morning, I wasn't sure what was real anymore. I started testing myself. Small things. I'd leave a spoon in the sink and check later to see if it was gone. I'd write a phrase in my notebook, something simple like "the sky is blue," and hide it, then dig it out hours later to make sure it hadn't changed. Sometimes it was fine. Sometimes the words were different. Once, I found the page blank, only for the sentence to reappear when I blinked. I started crying more often, in the shower, in the car, anywhere Ethan couldn't see. But I think he knew anyway. And Janice knew everything. She started showing up at odd hours, slipping in silently, gliding through the house like a ghost. Once, I woke from a nap and saw her standing at the foot of the bed, watching me sleep. She didn't move, didn't blink, just smiled that faint, knowing smile. When I jolted upright, she was gone. Ethan swore I dreamed it, but the sheets still smelled like her perfume. The next time I tried to fight back was during dinner. Janice had invited herself over again, sitting across from me like a queen at her throne. She reached across the table, resting her hand on Ethan's, her thumb stroking circles over his knuckles. I snapped. "Do you hear yourself?" I said, slamming my fork down. "Do you even realize how disgusting this is? You're his mother, not his wife." The silence that followed was deafening. Ethan's eyes burned with anger. "Don't talk to her like that." She's manipulating you, I shouted. She's tearing us apart, and you're letting her. Janice tilted her head, her smile soft and pitying. Sweetheart, I think you should calm down. You're not well. My chest tightened. Stop saying that. Stop making me sound crazy. But Ethan's gaze had already shifted, away from me, toward her. Always toward her. After that, something inside me cracked. I stopped fighting. I moved through the days like a shadow, numb and hollow. I let Janice rearrange the house, let her cook, let her laugh with Ethan while I sat silently in the background. But inside, I was screaming. And at night, I'd dream of mirrors, thousands of them, each one showing Janice's face where mine should be. One night, I woke to the sound of whispering. At first, I thought it was Ethan talking in his sleep, but when I turned, he was dead still. The whispering came from the corner of the room. I squinted into the darkness and saw Janice. She was crouched low, her hands folded like she was praying. Her lips moved fast, too fast, words I couldn't make out. When I sat up, my breath catching, she turned her head slowly toward me. Her eyes gleamed in the dark. And then, she crawled forward, spider-like, up onto the bed, slipping between us without a sound. I opened my mouth to scream, and woke up again. The bed was empty, the whispering gone. Ethan slept peacefully beside me, but my skin still crawled, because I could feel where the sheets were warm, like someone else had just been there. Days blurred into weeks. I lost track of time, of meals, of conversations. Sometimes I'd swear Ethan said something, only for him to insist he hadn't. Sometimes Janice would call me by name, only to claim seconds later she hadn't spoken. I stopped trusting my own senses. And that's when the notebook returned. I found it on the nightstand, open to the last page. In my handwriting, but not written by me, were the words, "She was right. I don't belong here." That night, I tried to leave. I shoved clothes into a bag, grabbed my wallet, my keys, my phone. My hands shook so hard I dropped everything twice. I kept glancing at the doorway, expecting her to appear, expecting him to stop me. When I finally pulled the front door open, I froze. Janice was standing on the porch. She smiled, serene, like she'd been waiting for me all along. My throat closed. Behind her, Ethan appeared, his face calm, almost tender. "You don't have to run," he said. "You're safe here." But the way he said it didn't sound like a promise. It sounded like a trap. I don't remember what happened next. I think I dropped the bag. I think I cried. I think Ethan wrapped his arms around me and guided me back inside. The next clear memory I have is sitting on the bed, Janice perched beside me, brushing my hair like I was a child. "See," she whispered, "isn't this easier? Just stop fighting. Stop pretending. He was always mine." I stared at my reflection in the vanity mirror, and for one heart-stopping second, it wasn't me staring back. It was her. That's where I am now, sitting in this house that no longer feels like mine, writing these words down, hoping someone will believe me. Because I don't know anymore if Janice is real. I don't know if Ethan is real. Some days, I don't even know if I am real. All I know is she was right. I don't belong here. I never did. And soon, I think, I'll be gone. Not because I left, but because there won't be anything left of me. Only her. Hi everyone, this isn't OP. I'm Ethan. I don't really know how to explain this, but I found her account open on her laptop this morning. The draft of the post above was still up, unfinished, just sitting there. The strange part is, she's not here. Her clothes, her bag, her shoes are still in the house. Nothing is missing. It's like she just evaporated. My mom says she never lived here. And the worst part, I can't prove she did. No photos, no toothbrush, no trace. Just these words on the screen. And when I tried to read them out loud, Mom leaned over my shoulder, smiled, and whispered, "See, I told you she was only in your head."